Okay, we're on to step 8. First thing you need to do is get four. You need to get 4 M414s, and this is a bag that's mixed. I don't know why it's mixed. It's got 28 of the M48s. Those are the smaller screws, and only 4 of the M414s, and those are the ones you're after. There's the smaller screws there, so you got to go through the bag and find the larger screws. And our goal in this video is to put these hold on the, I think it's called the Y belt, onto the bottom of your aluminum frame. So and at this point I need to point something out too. They tell you to put those black Y belt holders on the bottom of this frame right there. Problem is if you assemble it like that, you're going to have funny tension on your Y belt. So it's actually kind of like an error on the assembly instructions. So also I attempted to just I kind of like the screws pointing down. The problem with this is the bar does not have threads in it. The base plate has threads. The bar is just drilled out, so your threads won't grab that crossbar. So what you need to do is turn it over like that, and then we'll put the black belt holders on the bottom of that plate when it's assembled like this, and it'll make more sense as we go along. So I'll just show you me doing this. So after I told you to flip over, you're going to flip it over again, and this is probably what happened in the confusion. Place these here. I'm tempted to flip this bar over because when they drilled it out, I mean it's threaded, but there's a little bit of, it feels like it would go easier through this way. Let me check that out and I'll be right back. Okay, it probably would be better to flip the bar over, but it's not necessary. You don't have to do it. So here's how the bar came originally. So just put these on top, which will make assembly easier anyways. And then I didn't screw these down all the way, and then it's going to flip over like this. And the whole key to this is, if you look, if we do it this way, the belt holder is lower. So that's something you want to watch for, because the instructions have you do it the opposite way, and I recommend you do it this way. Anyways, so after that you're done with step 8. So that was pretty quick. Step 9 is pretty easy. That same bag that we used those 4 M14s out of, the rest of the screws in there now are M48s, and those are what we're going to need. And I believe we're going to need 16 of those. There's 4 holes here, 4 holes there, and same on the other side. And what we're going to do with those is we're going to mount the bed on the linear bearings there. So let me show you how that goes. Just going to place this on here and then start putting screws in these holes. I recommend that you diagonally put the screws in so you get a nice even seat. Okay, to kind of explain the diagonal seat I was talking about, all I've done is put the, see there's 4 holes there, 4 holes there. The 2 inner ones next to the center rod, or the bar going horizontal there, I put the 2 screws in there. And I did the same on the other side. And you don't want to tighten them down all the way, just put them in enough just to hold the bearing in the correct position. Now, when you go to install them, you just pick, see this one, just pick a diagonal corner and put it in. And again, these holes are drilled out a little bigger, so they'll just drop right through. And you don't want to tighten them down all the way, you just want to drop it in. And you could just finish off this one And again, so that's how I did the kind of diagonal, you know, went like this. And now that this one's done, you can go ahead and tighten this down and finish it off. And so they're snug. You don't want to tighten very hard. These are aluminum pieces, so you can strip them out pretty easy. You just want them snug. So all I'm going to do is do that operation on all 4 sides there. Okay, so that's it. I got all the screws snug in there, and it's kind of neat. Your bed now rides really smooth. Well, I don't know about smooth, but it rides easily. It's kind of noisy. Probably put some lubricant on that later on. But with that, you're done with, I believe that was step 8. Okay, in this next step, you're going to find your belt. It's just your tooth belt there. It's a plastic belt. And I already kind of started the assembly, but this will make sense. So I recommend you put the bed all the way to the back. Make sure your wires are out of the way. And you can hear it hit the back stop there. I guess that would be the Y stop. By putting it all the way to the back, when I tilt it up like this, it's not going to slam the bed onto the ground or to the back. There you go. Hopefully that came out there. And you're just going to attach that belt to the plate by tightening those screws down. And all I did, whoops, is I'll show you what I did. I lifted it up to this area here. I just lifted it up. I threaded my belt around here, put it through there, and then tighten these screws down. And again, you don't want them super tight, you just want them snug. And then what you're going to do is take your belt, put it on this side of this bar, loop it around your wheel, right there, and that's too loose. You're going to have to adjust the tension. And all I'm going to do is pull up on this. It's kind of hard to get it tight, but there's a mod for this later. And then you just tighten down your screws. And I'm actually gonna not cut it right away. Sorry about this. I hate watching people just putting in screws and stuff. I usually cut it away. But there you go. Hope that showed up on screen there. Yeah, you know, it doesn't get very tight, but it's just gotta, when this wheel turns, it's gonna move this up and down. So I like to cut it just to the bottom of the top part right there. And these cutters are not, oh, there we go. They work, I guess. It wasn't too bad. So there you go. That is, that should be, oops, sorry, kicked my stand around. That should be finished with step 9. Just gonna get my parts out of the way. Again, well, this, you can see once you got the belt on there, it doesn't slam around. But I like to have it on the bottom. It just seems to be better for when you're flipping it. There we go. This belt now your stepper motor can move this belt around. And see, this is this showing up there. I probably should have showed you from the bottom, but by doing the bar on the bottom, there's less, this belt is more flat, I guess you would say, horizontal. Again, they do this with this bed flipped over, and that'll bring that up if, the distance here, kind of like put more stress on that. So that's why I do it like that. Keeps it, oh, you didn't see my finger gestures and stuff. What I was saying is, by putting this bed on this way, this bar is on the bottom, it makes this belt more horizontal. And the way they do it in the instructions is they have this bar on top, which would pull this belt up a little bit higher, kind of stress it more. Anyways, that should get you a better movement of your bed there with less stress. Anyways, with that you're done with step 9. I wanted to show you a tip that I haven't really seen anywhere. Just kind of figured this out. So with this belt, I wanted to get it nice and smooth running, and I was noticing that the belt was really wobbling back and forth on the wheel down there, and I kind of figured out why I was doing that. So here, I'll back up just a bit. If you lift the bed, it'll turn the stepper motor, and you'll see 2 Allen wrench screws there, and it comes with an Allen wrench. And you want to loosen those. Hopefully that showed up there. You want to loosen those. There's the Allen wrench screw down there, or the Allen wrench that they provide on the bottom. I loosen the screws on there, and you can lift the bed up and down to cause that wheel to spin so you can get access to them. And then, if you'll notice, the belt had to be moved all the way over to the left side, looking at it from this direction, to make it, the top wheel there is lined up as much as possible with that bottom wheel. And what that did is I got rid of this sideways movement. And another tip that I found is that, see the screws on the top there? I just back them out as far as I can without it coming apart, and that will loosen that belt up quite a bit. And so what I've done is I adjusted the belt down here with these screws, got it tight by hand, and then I tighten the screws up when I was happy. What I'd do is I'd slide this up and down and get rid of any weird travel going left and right as I was moving it. And now it's right on, and it doesn't, that belt's not traveling this way very much, and it's all lined up. And then I tighten that down and tighten this down, and then all I'm going to do, and the belt's fairly tight now, but now all I'm going to do is tighten these screws a little bit on both sides. And what that's doing is tightening this belt up nice and tight for me. And again, you want to do it gently. And this is acting as a belt tightener for me. And again, you don't want to reef these things on tight because it's all just acrylic and aluminum. Boy, that's nice and tight. Maybe even a little too tight, and I could back those screws off if I want. Let me see how that feels. It's pretty tight. You don't want, in fact, if it was nice, well, it depends on the strength of your magnets and stuff in there. If you have it too, you can play around with that. Like I can loosen this a little bit. In fact, watch this. Let's see if it does it. You want it just tight enough. I bet you there's a point where, you know, this will kind of move on its own. But anyways, that seems to really help out. So that's a little tip, and I hope that makes sense. And it's kind of interesting. We'll pull this up. It's kind of interesting that, see if we can get a good angle on this. See, the belt right there is all the way to the left a little bit to make this top belt's like right on, and now it's very lined up with this. And as I travel, let's see if this shows up on camera, as I travel the bed, there's very minimum walk on that wheel. You know, it's going to do it a little bit because everything's not 100% lined up, but I really minimized that quite a bit, and I've got some nice tension on the belt. So that's a little tip there to help you get that belt working really smoothly. Okay, we're ready to step on to procedure 10. And first thing you want to do is find yourself your bag here of M330s. And you're going to need 4 of those. I just placed them right above the bag there. And then you find this bag here. This just got it's got your wing nuts and your springs, and I just placed them. You'll need 4 springs and 4 wing nuts. Then I highly recommend you kind of do this on these aluminum drilled parts. I'll just zoom in real quick on here, and it's probably not going to pick up the sound. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the threads work. So I'm going to grab one of my screws from over there and put it down all the way, you know, screw it down and then back it off, and do that at each section. And there's a specific way you should do this to avoid cross threading. And I'm going to kind of bring the camera, and I'm hoping it's going to pick up the sound it makes, but it might not. Might have to just describe it to you. And actually, let me get you kind of at this angle here, and we'll zoom in right there, and hopefully, oh, this is where it'd be nice to have a cameraman, because I don't know if this is going to show up very well. So what I do is you place the screw on here, you put your screwdriver on here, and you don't put any downward pressure, just, you know, very light. You don't want any downward pressure. You know, you're naturally going to have some because of gravity, but turn the screw to the left. I'm just using my fingers to help hold it up, and you'll hear an audible click. There, I don't know if you heard that or not, but by holding it, you'll just feel it. And that means the screw is seated. Then now you turn it to the right, gently. And once it feels like it's going really good, you can just kind of gently twist the shaft of the screwdriver, and it should go in that easily. I'm not putting any downward pressure. And then you can reach down here and feel that it's already gone through, and you should be able to do it by hand. And then you can take it out. And if it's not going easily, just run the screw all the way down and all the way up. And I hope that showed up on camera. There we go. So that's you can use that for all kinds of tips. That's great for automotive work, anything, especially when you're dealing with softer metals like this aluminum. The screw's nice and hard. It's like, I don't know, fake steel, and I don't know what it's made out of. But the aluminum bed's very soft, and that way you don't want to be dealing with any cross-threading issues when you're assembling this. So with that, we're going to go ahead, get our hotbed plate, and tape side up. It's got the connectors on the back. And let's see, what's the best way to do this? I don't know. I'm going to drop the screws in. Then you gotta put these springs on. Oops, that's probably not the best way to do this. But essentially all you're going to do is you're going to put the springs here. Here, I'll do this corner one. Oops. The dog in the background there. Probably doing one at a time. And when you put these in, you can use that same method, kind of go backwards with it until you feel a click, and then bring it on down. And it's kind of tricky with the spring in there, but you get the idea. I'm gonna just do one at a time there, and we'll get those hooked up there. You don't want to make you watch me fight with this thing. But basically, you saw you put the screw in the top, the spring, then you got to tighten that screw down through the bag. I got them all in, and I saved this last one so you can kind of see how this works. So zoom in on there, and again, I really hope it picks up the click on the camera. It probably won't. Trying to get the camera in a good spot. So I'm going to turn the screw to the left. And you heard a little pop there, and I felt it. Then you start turning it to the right, and you can put your finger on the bottom there, and then you can feel the screw come out the bottom. And it has the bottom of the screws coming out down there. So I just did that on all four. Now I'm going to finish, I'm going to bring the bed all the way down by tightening all four of those screws all the way down. You don't want to squish, you don't want to tighten it tight, you just want to collapse the spring. Okay, I think I found a good way to do this. I'm just going to squeeze the bed, and that'll collapse the spring as far as you want to go. So just reach over, just give it a gentle squeeze, and that spring there is collapsed, but you don't have it too tight. And then just bring your screw down. Again, you don't want to make it tight, you just want to seat it. That should work there. See how nice that screw sticking out at the bottom there? I guess at this point, if you want to, you could put your wing nut on. Again, like it's cross threading on me, so I'm turning it to the left until you feel it pop, and then you can turn it to the right. When I say the right and left, I'm referring to the wing nuts position. In other words, just keep loosening it until you feel that little pop, and then you can put it on. And I'm just going to do that on all four corners there. For getting those wing nuts on, one thing you can do is pull the bed all the way forward, and it'll clear the bottom corner down there. That'll give you plenty of room to put the wing nut on. And then when you're ready to do the back side, you just spin it around. You want to start watching your cables so you don't clip them. But if you slide it all the way to the back, then you can access the back screws there and put your wing nuts on back there. Okay, after you get your wing nuts on, get your hot bed on, you're done with step 10 there.